So it's kind of a weird vibe in the market at the moment. Bitcoin has literally closed at its all-time high. Now you might be thinking, all-time high? That's not $110,000 that it hit just back here. No, it's not, but it's all-time high closing price. It's never ended a day above $106,000. As you can see, of these little two spikes, if I zoom in over the last year, here are the spikes, 105.8 and 104.82. They were the highest daily closing prices. Today it closed at almost $7,000, giving us a new all-time high closing price. But I don't know if it's so quiet on crypto Twitter. Everyone's so quiet. Meme coins, altcoins, they're still down 40 to 70%. And spirits are like, okay, is this the excitement we're waiting for? Where the hell is everyone? And where are our 10, 20, 50, 100x returns? In fact, a lot of people are feeling like this. Beef Supreme on Twitter said PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. He said, he circles in orange crayon, whatever this thing is, back in 2021 when we had that double peak. If we zoom out here on the Bitcoin chart, you can see we had a massive run up where people made so much money, crazy. Literally billionaires being created, 100 millionaires, 10 millionaires, even, I made six figures, which was a lot for me back then. And then it dropped off a cliff for almost 50%, altcoins down 80%, NFTs absolutely nosedive before returning and just beating its all-time high. And people are like, what the hell? Is that exactly what we're about to do right now before we, again, nosedive and drop off a cliff? So it's at a time like this where sentiment is sort of weird that we turn to people like Peter from House of Crypto, who really is a high conviction, shining beacon, this foggy, misty landscape that we're all navigating through, basically blind on this boat. But Peter from House of Crypto not only has a light and a direction and a map and a compass and strong conviction that we are going to soar to 150K plus Bitcoin, but he also has a massive prediction that is going to be happening literally in 2 days. I'm going to be showing you that. Also, touching on Alex Becker in this video, he says, good job selling your Bitcoin to BlackRock at 77K, literally before they pumped to a new all-time high. You silly goose. He's saying people who are sold down here were wrong. We are not double peaking. We are going to the moon. But this is not about Alex Becker. A refreshing change of pace here on the channel. We are talking about the lovely Peter from House of Crypto, who I met at Token 2049 Dubai and had a very nice experience with. So shout out to Peter and all the work he's doing. His channel is absolutely blowing up at the moment. He tweeted out on April 10th, a month ago, just going to leave this here. And this was when Bitcoin was hovering at $78,000 with that green arrow up past $150,000 Bitcoin. And guys, he absolutely nailed that bottom. If you're not already aware, $76,000 he tweeted at just here with that green arrow going back up. It's only at 107 now. He drew it all the way past $150,000 Bitcoin. And because of these calls he's making, because he's being so consistent, his YouTube is absolutely blowing up. And he's making more and more accurate calls. Now, what is his secret? Now, Peter says, if you don't know why the crypto markets are rising right now, learn more about macroeconomics. He says his secret to his predictions is literally knowing what's going on in the macroeconomic cycle. It sounds boring, but once you realize why we're going higher, you can calm down and lock into real belief. That's what we're looking for. We are going through the fog being like, we're sure we're going the right way, great guys. This is not the double top that happened in 2021. It'll also help you identify the tops when everyone is still screaming for higher. So once we do 10x, once we do 50x, we'll know how to get out. Now, Peter from House of Crypto, if you follow the golden thread along from who he learns for, he learns from this lovely man called Raoul Pal, who is a global macro investor. I believe he worked at some big hedge funds, private equity firms, whatever the top dogs of the traditional finance were before dropping into crypto. And he has a theory about something called the M2 money supply and the banana zone. And he tweeted out, seems like the banana zone wasn't such a stupid idea. Plenty more to come over time with plenty sharp corrections on the way. You can see the 4 cycles from 2012, from 2016, from 2020, all the way up to 2025. Massive banana zone, which is where Bitcoin goes absolutely nuclear, and then followed by ALTSEASON, which I'll be telling you about in a second, as well as Peter's 3 convictions for strong altcoins in this market. But put simply, what is Raoul Pal and Peter from House of Crypto's theory? Well, basically, is that every nation is forced to print money to pay the interest on their debt, and therefore, all that new money will flow to the hardest and best assets, including Bitcoin. And then once Bitcoin goes euphoric, it'll trickle down into the altcoins. Sunny Decree on Twitter says, you heard it here first. They have to save the bond market. You have no idea how much money printing is coming. It will be unprecedented. Bitcoin will moon. And he's got Jerome Powell and Donald Trump, don't know how I forgot his name, are just printing US dollars, which China's already printing, and the US is apparently going to follow soon. House of Crypto explains it himself here. He says, the M2 money supply with approximately a 12-week delay is a hell of a tool for seeing the trend directions. And we all have Raoul Pal, the guy he's learning from, to thank for finding this and presenting it to the world. So the M2 money supply is how much money is being printed by every country all around the world. However, recently I've been seeing people on X trying to show you the day-to-day movements based on the M2 with an 80-day delay. Do not use the M2 money supply as a tool to try and predict the day-to-day movements. It's dumb because day-to-day movements do not align 90% of the time. Just hold your coins, be patient, and grateful for the opportunity to make a 5x or more in the next few months. If you need to do more than a 5x to solve your issues, think of another way to increase your income. I also agree with that, but he's saying you can't predict it down to the day. However, it is a good gauge for approximately when markets are going to turn. Now, that being said, he has made a prediction down to the day on when these markets are going to turn. He says this happens tomorrow on the M2. Bitcoin new all-time highs by the weekend wouldn't shock me at all. Let me see the exact date of this was May 19th, so 2 days ago. Let me know if you agree. You can see this massive spike in the money supply, and this is Bitcoin, the black, well, it's red and green, but it's so zoomed out that it looks black on this chart. Maybe it is black. Maybe I'm tripping a little bit here. You can see the correlation between M2 and Bitcoin, something like 92% over certain time frames. It's just really strong over every single time frame that you look at it from. And House of Crypto has been screaming this for literally 2 years as we've been following his journey and him making a bunch of money in crypto because he's followed this principle. Now you can see this massive leg up to 116,000 Bitcoin, which is why he thinks that we're about to boom. He says Bitcoin will be back above all-time highs within the next 10 days. So this was 3 days ago. He's got a week left and it's looking pretty good for him. Greed will return and your altcoins, which we'll get into in a second, will rally so hard. If you're waiting for altcoin season confirmation, you will be late. You have been warned. Rungay says, why 10 days? House of Crypto says, I think it's more like 2 days, but I'm giving myself a buffer. So he literally says in 2 days, which he's close because it's 2 days now and it is closing above all-time high, but a little bit of a buffer he's going to need. But he is tapping into that little bit of a buffer that he gave himself right now. And just today, he says the rest of the week is going to be green. Are you ready? And as Bitcoin flies, what else happens? This is where, like Bitcoin, you can make 40, 50, 60, 70% on your money. However, if you go down the risk curve to altcoins, meme coins, AI tokens, that is where you can gamble and have higher risk. But of course, more volatility means potentially higher reward. And if you can time it with Bitcoin's rise, you're going to do extremely well. So House of Crypto says, look here. You see that tiny red circle? I was like, which tiny red circle? This one over here, guys, this tiny red circle. That's what caused your alts to see a decent pump. That massive red bubble was that massive red bubble, which is this one here, was what happened in the last altcoin season. So this is Bitcoin dominance, which means what percentage of the market supply does Bitcoin own versus every other crypto out there. And you can see when Bitcoin pulled back, that allowed, well, it didn't allow, but it's like as other altcoins go up, obviously they're taking more market share and Bitcoin dominance drops. And we did a video on this channel talking about when the bull market will end. Both times the bull market has ended or the alt season has ended is when Bitcoin dominance drops down to that 45% level, which you can see here is 45% in here. That marks the end of alt season. But right now we're at our 60%. And he said when altcoins flew just last week, up 30, 40% for some of these strong alts and even 200% for a couple of others. That was all that we had. That was all the liquidity flowing from Bitcoin. He says, imagine this happening now with Bitcoin's market cap hundreds of billions of dollars higher than it was last time. So even more liquidity for the same percentage drop. Are you starting to believe yet? Now, he says on altcoins, if you are trying to buy altcoins when altcoin season is ripping, you'll get left behind because price is the indicator for most of the mainstream normies who like to lose their money in the crypto markets. But you're here before the massive rallies, which means we have the chance to buy in way before the normies. He says, if you think that the news drives the markets, you'll enter late and then be a bag holder. Notice how all of crypto went up recently with no real news about anything. Crypto is driven by macro conditions, not the stuff they show you on the news. The news is designed to shake you out at lows, like it did for a lot of people in the high 70s, and make you stay in at the top. When the bull market tops out, your ears will be filled with reasons why Bitcoin won't go into a bear market and will be going to $1 million in 2026. The news is a tool and it is used against you. Be smart. Contra trade the news. Long story short here, though, is buy altcoins when people say not to and sell them when people say to buy. So House of Crypto, I mean, well, I say when people are saying buy altcoins, when the majority of people are saying buy altcoins, because House of Crypto is saying try to buy altcoins when it's not ripping, which is right now. I'm going to give you 3 tokens that Peter from House of Crypto is bullish on: a large market cap, a mid market cap, and a smaller market cap. The first one is SUI, which I know Peter has made a lot of money on and has traded extremely well. It is now at a $12.84 billion market cap, and it has a really strong narrative as a up-and-coming layer 1 token. And I know Peter looks at the trade volume on DeFi Llama just to see how much money is being staked and how much money is being moved on the token to predict further price action. How high, however, does Peter reckon this will go? He says, SUI is offering one last chance. Previous resistance now retested at support. He says higher, and this is at $3.22. You can see it's now at $3.84, which is had a really nice strong lift over the last week, even over the last 4 days. From $2, it's almost doubled up to that $12 billion market cap. But he thinks, you can see here, he says, I hold SUI and it will probably send to $20, which is a long way from here. It's a 7x from here. There's actually another tweet he's got here where he made crypto bull market top price predictions, and he put SUI in at $25, which would give it an 8 or 7.5x from where we currently stand. However, if you're looking for a more medium market cap token that House of Crypto is bullish on, have a look at Aether. It's a $447 million market cap, although it is fully diluted at $2 billion. I'm not too sure on the dilution schedule there, but it is also rallying over the last 4 days or so. Oh, I mean, that's more than the last 4 days. That's from the 6th of May. That's from 3 weeks ago, from the lows of about 2.5 cents all the way up to 5 cents. A nice juicy 2x that I hope Peter had rode from the lows to the highs. He says, if you wonder why I keep banging on about how underrated Ether Cloud is, the tweet below will explain. AI development bottleneck equals shortage of access to NVIDIA's H100 GPUs. This is the new oil that there is a shortage on. Ether has a supply on tens of thousands of these GPUs, so somewhat of a monopoly, but not a monopoly because other people own them too, of the actual GPU units that can do all this processing. That's why Ether's revenue is $113 million. That makes it a top 15 crypto by revenue, but market cap is still relatively small. Let's go back and have a look at what it's 133rd largest crypto, even though its revenue is in the top 15 cryptos. And you can see if you want to read more about that, he retweeted this guy, Dwarkesh Patel, if you want to go deeper. But if you're looking for an even smaller play from House of Crypto, look no further than TARS AI, which is a top 406 token, currently at an $86 million market cap, following this same sort of pattern, although this one really, because it's a lower market cap, and TARS has been the longest running partner of our channel. They have a really good KOL program, which House of Crypto is most likely a part of. But you can see, because it is a lower market cap, it had way more volatility on that pullback. So these are the ones that go higher when Bitcoin goes up and crash a lot lower when Bitcoin goes down, but down from 1 cent up to almost 10 cents now. So there's a nice 8 to 9, maybe even close to 10x from all-time lows. It's been up and down, a little bit choppy sideways recently, but it is only still at a $87 million market cap, still under the fully diluted $100 million level. Now, Peter's covered this a few times on YouTube. This is the video where he covered it recently, and he talked about it being on Solana, which is the #1 performing layer 1 so far of this cycle. He says it's also crossed between the #1 performing blockchain and sitting in the AI narrative, which even Peter has a handful of AI agent investments that he's put on his Twitter, and thinks that the AI meta could do extremely well in this next bull market. He talks about Sonar, their AI assistant, which is available on the Solana smartphones. They really are building. They're not just a vaporware company like a lot of the recent launches have been. And at the time of that video that Peter put out, it was at a 35 mil market cap, but he predicted that it could have a 20x return from there, which would put it up to a $700 million market cap at the peak of the bull market. In fact, during that video, he said that TARS AI he says a lot of projects out there are currently undervalued, but TARS AI is particularly undervalued. And like I mentioned, Taz is actually our longest running partner on this channel who have an excellent marketing division, because that's what we look at on this channel is people who can market really well. Because even though Taz is building and they have an excellent backend, excellent technicals, excellent fundamentals, the social arbitrage opportunities are the biggest, and Taz does that extremely well. They're also partnered with NVIDIA and Solana Foundation, as well as a couple of top tier 1 exchanges. So if you're stacking altcoins right now, fingers crossed, House of Crypto is right, and within 2 to 10 days, which is 1 to 7 days from now, Bitcoin will be soaring past 110K all the way to the $116,000 level, and we'll all be rejoicing, and altcoins will start to lift from the bottoms and move and make us all monumentally rich. If you want earlier insights and you want to track the wallets, the portfolios, and the social medias of top influencers in crypto so you can get into the projects that they like way before their mainstream audience does, check out our Inner Circle, link in the description below for that. We just relaunched our software and it is better, quicker, stronger, and smarter than ever. Looking forward to seeing you on the inside. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.